Your pool is wrong. There is one thing that elite swimmer does in the first half of the pool that nobody in the public lane ever does. Most swimmers never learn it, most coaches never really teaches, and this is the reason why you probably work twice as hard and maybe you don't even get the speed that you want. In this video, you'll learn what early vertical forearm is and why standard coaching actually misses the point completely, and how to feel it in the water probably for the first time in your next session. Hi, I'm Alexandru Coci, I'm a former Olympian, and the deeper we get into this, the more you will see that it's not really about your arms, which is exactly why it works on one side of your body, but it falls apart in the other. Now, if you stick around until the end of the video, you'll understand what catching the water actually means, and you will feel the difference between grabbing and missing it. Now, the most common thing I actually see whenever I watch adult swimmers, and I do this on a daily basis through my video analysis, a lot of them, they're actually pulling with their hands and they don't understand the concept. Now, this is what I want you to do. Whenever you're gonna go next time to the swimming pool, I want you to watch the person in the lane next to you, not at yourself, and look at their elbow specifically. And you will see that the elbow drops at the moment the fingertips are entering in the water. Basically, they're pushing the water down and not pushing it back. Now they put all the effort and almost no forward movement, and that's exactly where everything starts. Now here's something that most coaches never really tell you, and by most I don't mean all of them, but majority of them. The moment your hand enters in the water and your elbow drops below your wrist, which is probably what's happening right now, on every single stroke, you already lost the catch. Now what you're actually pulling against, it's almost nothing. Maybe a few inches here and there, a few centimeters on your palm. The water just slides off immediately. Now this happens because dropped elbows actually feels like an effort, right? Because you're moving your arms through the water. There is a bit of a resistance there. So basically your brain reads that as sensation as actually working hard. So it assumes that you're doing something useful. Now imagine this in your head. Think about rowing a boat with a wet noodle instead of an oar. The moment it hits the water, the noodle bends. Now here, you're moving technically a bit, but most of that energy actually disappears. So basically what you need a rigid paddle and not a floppy one. So the fix here is actually really simple. Keep your elbow high as the hand enters in the water. Fingertips are pointing down. Elbow is pointing at the wall beside you. Your forearm goes vertical, and that vertical forearm becomes your paddle and not just the hand. So more surface area right now, more water, and more forward momentum per each stroke. Now, because this is actually easier to actually see on land, we're going to practice it first. So stand up, extend one arm forward at the shoulder height, now bend at the elbow, so your forearm actually drops down. Fingertips towards the floor, and the upper arm is still horizontal. Now hold that for a second or two, and that's the catch position. Now, without letting your upper arm move, imagine that you're pressing your forearm straight back. Now feel how much surface area is actually engaged right now. It's not just your palm, but it's your palm and your forearm. And this is the difference between catching the water and missing it if you're only using your palm. Now in the water, I want you to do a simple drill, which is catch-up drill. One arm stays extended forward, while the other arm completes a full stroke. As the pulling arms enters in the water, you pause. Now set the high elbow, forearm goes vertical, then pull for 25 meters, and then one mental cue to keep in mind, elbow stays up, and after that, you pull. Now swimmers who actually work on this one specific thing without changing their kick, their breathing, and nothing else, typically see a 3 to 4 to 5 or whatever improvement per each 25. Now, if you don't know if you're doing this or you're doing something else, and if you want personal feedback on your stroke, join my Ocean Swim School, link in the description down below. Now let's move on, and I'm gonna have to tell you what's the problem with just telling you to set your high elbow. The catch is invisible. You can see your arm underwater. You can feel whether your elbow is 2 inches too low or a few centimeters. So most people think they have fixed whenever in reality they haven't. Now that's why the cue actually works, because it's not about the high elbow at all, But think about that you're grabbing a handful of water. Now this happens because the catch is actually a pressure event and not a position event. And let me explain you this. Now your brain responds to a pressure much faster than it responds to a geometrical instructions about elbow angles. Now I want you to imagine and think about this. Think about squeezing a stress ball. If you just rest your hand on it, nothing really happens. You have to close your fingers, commit to the grip, and to create an actual pressure. The moment you do that, the whole hand engages and not just the fingertips. The water works exactly the same way. You either grab it or you miss it. So instead of chasing that perfect position, angle, 90 degrees and so on and so forth, chase the pressure instead. So create it across the whole surface, palm and forearm together, from the fingertips to the elbow all at once. So the hand full of water cue actually gets your hand and your forearm working as one unit instead of a brain just trying to micromanage the two body parts separately. Now on land, we're going to work on the wall drill. So stand one arm length from the wall. Press your forearm flat against it, not just your palm, but the full forearm surface. Now I want you to push. Feel everything from your wrist to your elbow engaged at the same time. Do this for 1 minute on each arm. Now in the water, I want you to do fist drill. Close your hand into a loose fist and swim 425s or even more if you want. With no palm surface, your forearm has to do all the work. Your brain recalibrates fast here, then open your hand and swim normally. And you'll feel the difference here in the first very stroke. And the mental cue here is grab the water, don't just touch it with your hand. Now many triathletes that I coach who nail this report swimming the same distance with 15 to 20% less heart rate, same speed and less effort. Now if you're using this to build towards swimming your first kilometer without falling apart halfway through, that's exactly why my 21 days first kilometer challenge inside Ocean Swim School walks you through day by day, and link in the description if you're interested to swim your first 1K. But even if you got that high elbow and the pressure sorted, there is a reason that holds you on one side and quietly disappears on the other. Now here's what most coaches skip completely. The EVF doesn't actually live in your arm. Now the arm holds that position, but it's the rotation that actually creates it. Now whenever I was training for the London Olympics, we drill this every single session, not just the catch, but the rotation that sets up for that catch. Now watch me here how I generally demonstrate a good EVF, and you'll notice that my shoulders drive forward as the hand enters in the water. That shoulder rotation what buys the angle and the time that sets the elbow high before the pull starts. Now without it, the arm is doing everything alone, and that's why sometimes one side is always weaker than the other. Now this happens because most swimmers think that the EVF is actually an arm drill, but it isn't. It's the whole body sequence that the arm just completes at the end. Now think of a baseball pitcher winding up. Now skip the wind up and throw with your arm only, and the pitch is weak and sometimes it even hurts. Now skip that wind up and the arm has to compensate, which is exactly what's happening on your weakest side. Now the truth is that you have to drive the rotation before the catch. So hip and shoulders rotate towards the pulling side, which tilts the whole body and it gives you that angle that it needs to catch high. Rotation first, catch second, pull on the third. Reverse that order in any way and the whole thing just collapses. Now on land, stand with your feet shoulder width apart, one arm extended forward. Now you rotate your torso towards that arm. Now feel how it drops your arm into a better catching angle automatically. Now do this 10 times on each side and exaggerate that shoulder drive. Now in the water, we're going to do catch up with the pause and rotation. 425s or maybe more if you want. Hand enters in the water. Now actively rotate that shoulder towards it. Set the high elbow, then pull. It will feel slow, but that's the correct way if you're wiring the sequence. The mental cue here is rotate, catch, then pull. Now swimmers who add this rotation piece gain maybe 1 to 2 seconds per 25 on top of what they actually gained from fixing the catch before. And everything just stacked on top of each other. And the side-to-side difference actually disappears within 2 to 3 weeks. Now, to refresh your mind a bit about this video, you should feel the pressure of inside surface of your forearm from below your elbow all the way into the wrist, from the moment you actually set the catch until your elbow passes to your hips. Now, if you feel it mainly into your fingers or your palm, the elbow is dropping. And if you feel it mainly into your shoulder, you're basically muscling the stroke without any rotation. The sweet spot here is actually the forearm pressure, early and sustained all the way through. Now, maybe in your next swimming session, you'll notice something that's really hard to describe until you actually feel it. So I'm gonna let you with that. There is a moment early in the pool, before you even started moving, where the water just holds, like it's actually supporting you. And that's basically the catch. And that's what you're probably missing on every single stroke. I'm working right now with a master swimmer, 50 to 54 age group. He's been swimming 3 times a week for 4 years. And he couldn't figure it out why he was always exhausted after 400 meters. I look at his stroke and the elbow was dropping 6 inches within the first half second of every single pull. 4 weeks later, working on fist drills and the rotation sequence, he's finally swam his first 800 meters non-stop. And basically here, you're not getting stronger, you're just getting smarter. You do the same effort and double the results. Now, if you actually want me to look at your stroke, tell you what's costing you, join my Ocean Swim School, link in the description down below. And if your goal is to swim your first kilometer in 21 days, it's sitting right there inside the community too, under the lower membership. Link in the description. Drop a comment if you're actually gonna try this, or if you try this, and tell me which part actually hit the hardest. I read every single comment. Like, subscribe, see you in the next one.